So we have Rachel here again with us this week, and we're going to be talking about the triple warmer and the pericardium. So welcome, Rachel. It's lovely to have you with us again.
It's a joy to be here. Thank you for inviting me again. It's lovely.
And everybody's doing really well. They've struggled a little bit, some of them, I think. But it'd be nice to see how we can help them with what they're going to be learning this weekend and the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be looking into the pericardium and the triple warmer, which is one of my favourites, and I know it's one of yours. It's one of those go-tos that you just love, that's always there, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's really, really powerful, and it's probably a good job that you didn't start on this one. That's all I'm going to say, because although most people are in sort of fight, flight and freeze state, whether we admit that or not, we usually are, because we're either running away from something, running even to something, or we're a bit stuck. We're just really stuck in that place of just can't move one way or the other. And that might even come up as a physical problem. And I think this is where the pericardium and the triple warmer really kick into us understanding what fight, flight and freeze really means. Your pericardium is all about flow.
Yeah,
it is all about flow. It's about that heart protector. It goes around your heart and it protects your heart, but it protects your heart by enabling everything to flow really beautifully around it. And if it's not in flow, then it can really cause all sorts of problems. You think of a river that doesn't flow and it's not getting to that end game where it wants to feed the cattle down at the bottom, and it's just not providing that water, then that drought in your system can literally leave you so parched. It can cause hormone problems. It can cause, you think when we're parched really and we're not in flow and we've not drunk enough water and those type of things, we start to stiffen up.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happens physically with your body when you're in fight, flight and freeze. Everything sort of goes straight to your outer extremities. So you might find that you can't keep your hands still, you can't keep your feet still, you're sort of twitching around, everything's moving. So, you know, if you're one of these people and you sit there and your legs constantly moving on the ground, it's because your body's in that I'm ready for action, I'm ready to go, and everything, your blood supply is literally gone to your extremities. So to sort of bring that balance back, it's very pertinent that your pericardium is very much aligned with your triple warmer. So those points, when you work them together and then actually blend them with the opposites of that, are magically fast. Really, you will notice when you stop using them, because when you start to use them and you notice the changes, when you stop using it and you think you're okay, boom, actually you're given these lessons of, oh, you stopped using it now, so I'm going to show you why you need it. Because we get these lessons every single day in our life with the stresses, just everyday stresses that we have, and we don't realize it. So what is important about this is that it's not just, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to have a little fix and do the pericardium and do the triple warmer. Actually, it's bringing it into your life so that it becomes as important as brushing your teeth and washing your face and combing your hair.
That's interesting, because I've been talking to a friend recently and she was saying, if you want to make something regular in your life, attach it to something you already do. And one of the things she talked about was cleaning your teeth. She said, so one of the ways to remember to do like tapping or something else you want to do on a regular basis is attach it to something that's already a habit. And I think that's so important, and that's been really helpful for me as well, is lining it with, there's lots of things that we do throughout the day are regular.
And you're going to like this one. I like this one. One of the best ways to make this a habit for you is, and sometimes this is the only peace and quiet we get, is when you go to the loo.
Yeah.
Because you've got your hands free.
That's true.
Instead of looking at your phone, okay, put your phone to one side.
I don't take my phone to the toilet.
Some people do. They might take your phone, they might take the book, they might do whatever. But literally, if you can literally just hone in on even just the act of what you're doing right now, it's about flow, okay? pericardium is very much about our sexual organs, and it's about your menstrual cycle as well. So it's a magical time to be tapping on these points, because if you're having any issues at all with your menstrual cycle, then being in flow is massively important.
Yeah.
So if you can attach this to when you go to the toilet, why not? Help your bowels, help your whole system, and do any tapping that you can. But particularly, I suppose, when it's that monthly time, use your pericardium and your triple warmer, because we females, we go into fight, flight and freeze so quickly when we are feeling hormonal. We really do. It's a natural state that we go in, of protection, of protecting ourselves, protecting our nesting and everything else that we do. Everything has to be a certain way for us to feel safe and comfortable, and anything can interrupt that safety, anything. And you will know this because we're women, and you know, sometimes we need that dark chocolate. Allow yourself the dark chocolate is what I'm going to say as well. Allow the dark chocolate if when you're coming up to your menstrual cycle. It's really, really good to have that treat, and it's a really good grounding mechanism.
Yeah.
Because most of us don't ground ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, and this is really important that we ground ourselves, and that's why tapping is a really beautiful tool for that.
Yeah, and I think I often talk about people just sometimes just go and stand barefoot on the grass and connect, because that will help to, especially if you've got lots of energy, it will help just to balance all of that energy out. And tapping, I just find it's just fascinating to me. There's no, and sometimes you think, well, that did that, and you don't always understand why. But you just know it gives you a fantastic feeling, and that's been my feedback really from the girls, is like, they don't quite understand why at the moment, but they just know that they've either got more energy or they just feel much calmer, much more together.
Well, I can give you a scientific reason for why it's working. You are literally drumming into your cells. You are drumming into your cellular system.
Yeah.
And it is as simple as that. You know, we are being consciously mindful about the language that you're using. Oh, sorry, I didn't know I had those on. I'll just take those off. Of the language that you're using, of the points that you're tapping on, you're suddenly bringing your whole intention to that point. And when we are so intentional that we become aware of our bodies in that minute detail, we're very good at the, oh, I need to save the world, aren't we? We are, and there's no disrespect to anything that is going on here. We're very good at, I need to help save the world. There's a crisis going on here. There's a crisis going on there. Well, I'm afraid, everyone, there is a crisis going on in here.
Yeah, and we tend to forget this one, don't we?
We do. And as soon as you can bring that micromanagement back to your cellular level, which is what tapping does, it goes straight to your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve connects the root of you up to your brain. It connects all of that like branches of a tree. You are literally connecting everything at a cellular level to realign your body and regenerate it into that new version of you, because you are not going back to, and you will never go back to, that old state. You are regenerating from the inside out.
Yeah, because I often talk about frequencies, don't I? And I often think about every cell holds a pattern or a frequency. So once we've changed that pattern, we've changed it, and that's reset. So it's rewiring it. But sometimes some things take more work than others and are a longer process, aren't they? As we tune into us, if you like, and really niche down onto whatever those issues are that we personally are facing.
And the beauty of it is, Jackie, is that the more we do of this, the younger we start to look, the younger we start to feel, because, pardon me, when we start to regenerate our body and our cells, instead of having that old information, okay, which probably isn't even ours to start with, and we've regenerated it into that new state, then the next set of cells that come along take that new state to replicate from.
Yeah, they're not coming from the original, are they? So
exactly. So when you start to, and that takes time, okay, but we do see those changes, that people who do energy work, who deal with tapping at a cellular level and become very intentional about what you want to do, It really does. If you look at people like Sadhguru, who does yoga, and you look at people like Donna Eden, who does energy medicine. Donna Eden is now in her 80s. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
You look at some of her videos when she was in her 70s, the vibrancy of that woman is incredible. So yeah, it's just gonna, I've I've got light on, but I've got no makeup on now. And at one point, there was no way 10 years ago I would have gone on screen with no makeup on, because I looked haggard and worn out and absolutely exhausted, because that's how I felt about life.
Yeah.
I've got young kids. I was a mum trying to bring them up more or less on my own, financial worries and everything else. But once I took all this on board, it's affected every single area of my life in the most positive of ways.
Yeah, and I think because you're looking at things differently as well. And the other thing that came to my mind today, because I was just talking to hubby last night, and we were just saying, obviously clocks are changing. Now, we don't cope very well with clock change in this house. We never have done. And as before, when we moved out, we, by tapping regularly, that adjusted that clock. So I said to him, actually, this week we're going to change our times, so we're ready for next weekend, so that we're adjusted already. I know, and that made such a difference to me, because by now, then for me, I'm now 2 hours. Next weekend, I'll be 2 hours different to the UK, and that makes it a huge difference on how tired you feel. And I've noticed that the more you tap, the easier time schedules become. And you often say you start to wake up early and things like that. All right, we still have the days when maybe we're not well or something like that, that's different. But on general, I wake up much earlier than I used to.
Yeah, your whole body clock tends to change into the one with nature. And just become more tuned into nature's. And what a beautiful way to live your life. It really is a beautiful way to live life. Now, some of you might resist that, and I understand that, because you might have very strict schedules and a work life to actually stick to. But it's still, you can manipulate tap around the clock. Okay, you can manipulate Talk EFT to fit you and to fit your lifestyle. So if you want to know how to do that, do get in touch, because manipulating just means using it in a slightly different way. But like Jackie said, when we're going into time changes for the clocks and things like that, or when you are flying and you are out of sync with where you've been to where you're going, you might be 5 hours behind suddenly because you're now in New York, then you can use Talk EFT to realign your body so that you are in that time zone, and it doesn't take a great deal of time for that alignment to start happening.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just sat this morning and thought, right, that's it. I know what I'm doing this week, because I'm not going to get to, I think it's the 26th, isn't it, or 27th, when it changes the weekend, and think, and feel that, so I'm going to start a few days early, just move it, so I'm ready and not that dreaded clocks go back tonight.
Some people might tap, through different times throughout that day, so that by the time they get to the next day, then you're much more aligned. But you can certainly do it a couple of days before, to sort of bit by bit to just shift your system,
just to shift that and not have that dreaded clocks change tonight feeling that I've always had, because I know, moving out to France at the beginning of last spring, we never had that issue, and I never had that throughout since I've been here. But I just feel right now that that's something that I need to work on this week, and that. But so with everybody, I think there's so much to tapping, isn't there? And we've said, and this week they're looking at pericardium and the triple. Pericardium and the triple warmer, which I think, like you say, are absolutely fantastic tools to know. But there's so much more to it, and they've got so much more to learn as they go on, haven't they, and to grow. And I'm still doing that as well myself, and that's something I think forever, isn't it? We learn.
And I think that's the beauty of it, and I think that's something that we all need to take on board. Is that whatever stage you are at is absolutely perfect for you right now, because there is no race here. It is literally just becoming so self-aware that you know exactly where you are right now.
Yeah.
And whatever you're being presented with right now is pertinent to your discovery of what you need to know. And
Yeah.
that will be very different to your children and your husband, never mind us, because although they've been part of your life, their story is different.
Yeah.
Their life experiences are different. So it's a very personal, very, very personal journey. And take your time with getting to know yourself in this way, because you are really interesting, really, really interesting. And the more you start to literally uncover those little parts of yourself, you really start to cherish every little bit of yourself in the most stunning, sublime way, so that you appreciate yourself from this absolute gift that you are and the genius that you are, rather than anything else that I'm not even going to mention.
Yeah. Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks ever so much for that, Rachel. And I'm sure everybody will find that really beneficial. And it's really lovely having you and listening to how, your enthusiasm and with tapping, and how it really is just so powerful. It's just incredible. And I'm
It's the
sure
most
they'll all enjoy
beautiful
that.
gift I think we can give ourselves.
Yeah,
It really is, because
yeah,
it's simple.
yeah,
You can use it anywhere.
yeah, exactly.
You can use it on the go. We don't always have time to sit and be, meditating.
No,
So
exactly.
it literally is something that we take and go and move with. And I think that's why it is so important, because regardless of anything else that you might do, it is teaching us to take our energy forward with us on the journey.
Yeah,
Not just sit back and think, oh, I need to go and meditate now because
yeah,
I need to do some self-care. Actually, that self-care is an action that goes with you wherever you are, whenever you are, and needs to be utilized like that, so that
yeah,
it is literally just part of your life,
yeah.
without having to think, oh, I have to go and do this self-care now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so important, because people should be thinking about self-care. But this is something that no matter where you are, you know, whatever we're doing, we can use it. Whether we're at work, we don't necessarily have to. We talked about the triple warmer, one of those little things that you can just tuck under the desk and you can be doing. Just so you're doing your little bit of self-care in amongst maybe a situation that you're struggling with, without anybody else knowing. And I think that's such a beautiful thing about it. So thank you ever so much for joining us this week.
Oh, you're
And we
welcome.
look forward to another time.
Thank you for having me. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.